Okay, um, so I've just come back from the Serpentine Gallery and I've just finished, I was going to say seeing the Marina Abramovic exhibition, but it wasn't really seeing, it's more feeling or experiencing. And usually I would write a post or um, words. I'd use words to describe exactly what I just experienced. But I actually feel like this time a video would be better, and not because anyone's watching, but mainly for my own, I won't even say record, I won't ever forget that, but just for me to honour and respect the experience that I just had. So basically I went with not much expectation. I'd actually been to a few exhibitions yesterday with a friend of mine and sort of said, I don't feel like I have to go. I didn't feel like I needed to go and meet her, or I didn't need to experience it to get where she was coming from. That's wrong. That, or not wrong, but that wasn't true. And to go from yesterday being like, I don't want to go, to today waking up at 6 o'clock and being like, right, I'm off, I'm gonna go, was clearly a very necessary thing for me to go through or to do. So basically, I got there very early after going to sleep with a crystal of mine, a Lemurian quartz from Brazil, and the crystal said to me that he wanted, or it wanted, to meet Marina Abramovic. So I was like, okay, we can make this work, maybe. I'll try my best. At least I'll go and see what it's like. I thought the queue would be for miles around the building because the show only opened yesterday. So I said to the crystal last night, if I wake up early enough, then I'll go. So lo and behold, I woke up at 6 o'clock, 5 to 6, and decided, what have I got to lose? It's a lovely day. Let's go. Got there, and I was only the fifth person, which was amazing. And it was 7 o'clock by the time I got there, so I had 3 hours to wait. And I sat down and read my book about crystals, which I hadn't touched before, Stones of the New Consciousness. I felt the sun, I felt the earth, and it wasn't until a TV crew came around to interview people at about 9:45, and the doors opened at 10, that I even considered why I was there, realistically, apart from the fact that my crystal had said he wants to go. But personally, so the cameraman from Sweden asked me, why are you here? And I was like, well, I think it's important as an artist to experience the art without being in control of it or in control of the process. And with my friend yesterday that I'd agreed not to go to the exhibition with, she'd made a comment about the way I look at art, the way I approach art, that I thought was right, but was definitely something that I wanted to change. And she said to me that I'm the sort of person that I need to get the work for the work to work for me. And I really took that on board. I was like, yeah, for real. I expect an outcome, a response. So I also said to the cameraman that I felt, as an artist, as an educator, and also as a practitioner of Reiki or energy work, readings, that what Marina was trying to do with her institute, where she's combining art, technology and spirituality, was definitely something very close to my own heart. And that the concept of being teacher, creator or healer, which is something that is very prominent for me in my life at the moment, I felt that what she was trying to do within this space touched on that. So we've gone in, we've put our bags. Marina opened the door, nod as you would to anyone opening a door for you, thank you. We've gone in, we've got toilet, because remember I've been sitting there for 3 hours in the sun drinking a lot of water. Gone to the toilet and then put my bag into a locker, and entered the space. And the first thing that took me was the fact that it wasn't empty. I was expecting nothing, when in fact in the room you had a group of people standing on a small platform, and then four pieces of paper, coloured paper, red, 4 pieces of red, 4 pieces of blue, and 4 pieces of yellow, with seats in front of them. And then either side of that room there was two white rooms with nothing in them apart from blinds to cover the windows. Everything was white. So I decided to do a recce and explore each room. But the first thing that struck me, or the first thing that came into my head, was I'm in a room full of colour and everybody on the platform's white. I'm in a room full of colour but everybody's white. I'm in a room full of colour but everybody's white. And I started to move around, and then I walked around into the other room and felt as if every step I took was a step towards my death and my beginning. So I was descending and ascending with every step that I took around the room. And at this point, remember, I was the 5th person in the queue. There wasn't that many people, and actually you felt like you needed to have more people there. This wasn't something that was to be experienced alone. So then I came back into the first room where the people are standing on the platform, and decided to sit in front of one of the pieces of coloured paper. And I decided to sit in front of the colour red. My name's Scarlett. I have always felt that I don't suit red. I've never felt quite natural with the colour red, despite my name being Scarlett. So I thought this is a good opportunity to spend some time with that colour red. Not only does that colour red represent me, it also represents my lower chakra, which has been very closed. It's been opening up recently. I feel I've released some of my kundalini. So I thought this was a time to engage with that concept and colour. And I stayed there for a while, and a few other people sat down. Some stayed for a duration, others moved. And the first thing that was going through my head was just sit down. Don't worry about anybody else. There's no time limit. You don't have anything to do. You don't know anybody in this room. Nobody is here to look at you or judge you. No one's sitting there wondering, why is she sitting there? Or I want to sit there. It was just sit there until it's time to go. So I did. I stared for a long time at the centre and allowed my eyes to filter out everything. I traced with my eyes the edge of the paper 108 times. And I paid attention to the surface, the lines, the gap between the wall and the paper, the edge of the paper. And within that, I saw 3 things. The first thing I saw was a temple of colour, a sacred temple, nothing more, nothing less, a temple of colour. Then I saw a womb, which is very relevant for me at the moment because I haven't had my periods for 45 days. I'm not pregnant, it's just my body's not allowing me to menstruate right now. So I saw the edges became soft and full, a full womb, a womb full of blood. And I saw that we're never in a state of light and we're never in a state of dark. We're always in a state of transition from light to dark. So even if we're in a womb, we're going to come out of the light. But when we come out of the womb, our life and experience is a womb of which we will die and come out of again. And I saw this circular process of the womb and life. Not much death, just life going through this process of dark and light, dark and light. And then after I'd done the 108 rotations, the 108 being a very significant and special number in many cultures, after I'd done that, I saw a figure that I've seen when I've done paintings before, or even paintings with my son, where I close the paint and open it, and it was just somebody there with their arms open, be it an angel, a spirit, a guide, just something. And this was all just from sitting down and looking at red. Then I was told, okay, you can get up now. I got up, I started to walk around again. I saw a free seat available on in front of a piece of yellow paper. But something said to me, no, it's not time for yellow now. So I've gone into the room, one of the white rooms, either side of the coloured room, I'll call it. And by this point, there's a lot more people in there. But as I've walked into the room, I felt something push me. Something pushed me on my hip, my bum, just pushed me forward. Now, as somebody who considers themselves to be psychic, clairvoyant, clairaudient, it's a sensation that I've had before. It's not a sensation that happens very often, but usually I feel like a push on your shoulder, a pull of your hand, and there's nobody there. There's nobody doing it. Well, no one in the physical reality, but it is a very clear, defined push. And whether or not that's a push to remind you of to protect yourself, or a push in the right direction, or just a push to gently remind you that they are here. I felt like the presence of angels was there, to put it in one type of description. So I was like, thank you. And this is all in my head, okay? I've been pushed. I'm in the right place. Kept on pushing me. So it pushed me round. Carried on doing the circle of the room. And everybody in the room is doing their own thing. Some people are standing still, moving, holding their arms out, sitting down. And I found a space in front of the white wall. And at this white wall, I decided to focus the whiteness, the white light, the white energy on my family, lineage. My family being everybody, my friends, my son, my mum, my dad, and everyone beyond them. And I imagined myself extending light out of my body and into each one of them. And as I was doing that, I imagined their physical beings breaking down, so that all that was left were beams of light. And each person became part of that beam of light. No physical reality, no physical body, no hardship, no pain, no identity, just light, stretching back as far as creation. That was quite a quick process. I felt that was quite quick. And then at that stage, I placed the master symbol, Reiki master symbol, above my head, and felt that I placed it above the Serpentine, above the building. Then I moved out again, and I've gone back. You have to go through the room with the people in, and by this point, the original group of people that were standing, the white people, had changed. Now it was the audience, it was the public who were now standing up and being observed, or not being observed, or having their moment on the platform surrounded by the colour, which I found interesting, because then my initial interpretation that I was in a room of colour, that it was only white people, was no longer like that, because now there was all sorts of permutations of people on this platform. So I went into the other white room, and in this room there was clear spaces in front of the blinds, so very long blinds. I've stood in front of there to feel the natural light, and as I've stood in front of this blind, I've seen that the pattern of the window was shining through, sort of crosses, and there were 7 crosses, and each one of those crosses I felt was connected to my chakras. So I took some time at that point to place my hands, starting from my root chakra, and place my hands going up. I started at my root chakra, and I used the same number. I counted to 108. I moved up, I moved up, I counted to 108. When I got to my heart chakra, something told me to count down from 108 to 1. So I counted down, giving myself Reiki, universal energy, whatever you wish to call it. After I'd completed counting down on my heart chakra, I sort of instinctively went to go for my throat, my third eye, and my crown chakra. But as soon as I put my hands there, it was like, no, don't need it there. You don't need to put Reiki here. Excuse me. So I finished with my heart chakra, and I didn't have this on. I'd taken this off and these off whilst I was in there. I've decided to walk around again. And as I've walked around again now, I'm back into the room of colour. Marina's there, and she's taken the hand of somebody and led them onto the platform. So I'm looking at her from the back, holding onto someone's hand. And as I'm looking at her and taking that in and imagining what the person holding her hand is feeling, what Marina's feeling, somebody came from behind me, one of the, I think they're calling them the guards, and she took my hand and she walked with me, and she just took my hand, and I don't know why that feeling was just so overwhelming, to allow somebody that you don't know in a space that you haven't been to take your hand and walk with you and go with that. Just walk with her. Don't look at her. Don't think about who she is, what her name is, what she looks like. Just walk with her. Allow her to lead you. And she did, as she walked me around the platform where Marina was. And then she walked me away from her. And she walked me back into the room that I just touched my chakras on. And she stood with me in front of the mirror. No, sorry, the mirror in front of the window with the light. She just stood there, holding my hand. And this happened. I started to cry, but not sobbing. Water was falling from my eyes. And I could feel my tears coming down and falling all up here into my heart, just falling and falling and falling and falling. And I don't know how long we stood there for, holding hands. And then she put her hands either side, one on my heart and one on my back, and she brushed my hair, and she brushed my hair over my shoulder. And she stood holding my heart like that. And the feeling was amazing. And then she brushed me down. She brushed my aura. She brushed me down. She brushed my shoulders. She brushed my arms down. She brushed my body down. She went to my feet. She brushed my feet down. She brushed everything down. And then she touched me on the back of my head and she walked off. And then something said, "You can go now, Scarlett. You can go." And I stood there for a bit, trying to compose myself, wiping my nose and my face on my top. And I felt like I can go now. I've got it. And I'd gone there trying not to get it, but whatever it was I was supposed to get, I got. So I've come out of the white room. I've walked past everybody and I've left. I've gone, I've got my bag, went outside. And when I've got outside, there was nobody else in the queue. I was expecting there to be a queue and one person in, one person out. There was nobody there. And I think that the guy who'd interviewed me from the Swedish art show, he came and he's like, "You're leaving already? Why?" And he wanted to film me, wanted to record me, and I said, "I can't talk right now, I'm completely overwhelmed." And he said, "Why did you leave so quickly?" I said, "Because what I came here for is done, it's complete." And I walk through Hyde Park and the sun's shining. Everything is as it was. Everything's connected, which felt so apparent that this person who took my hand was Marina. It wasn't Marina, but it was. But Marina wasn't Marina. Marina is me. That was what I felt. Complete connectedness. And what came to me was that 2 nights ago, so it's Thursday the 12th of June today, so on Tuesday the 10th of June, I was in bed with my son, Sirius, and just before he fell asleep he said to me, Mummy, 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 I've got a secret to tell you. And I said, oh okay, what's the secret, Sirius? He said, I've got a secret from Gangama. Now Gangama is the goddess that I have tattooed on my back. And he said, I've got a secret, Mummy, I've got a secret from Gangama. So I said, well, what's the secret? He said, Mummy, there's angels in this room. There's angels all in this room, Mummy, and they're carrying you. The angels are carrying you, Mummy. And that, today, that was a physical demonstration of what my son told me 2 days ago. Angels are carrying me. The angels are carrying us all. So that was my experience with Marina Abramovic. And as much as I'd like to say to everybody, go and experience it, I can't guarantee that you'll experience anything like what I just described, because it's a very personal thing. But I'd be very surprised if in some way you weren't affected by the humanity of it, the neutrality of it, and again, you know, the what can be found in nothing.